Boats! Brisbane Yamaha knows boats.
Hi, I'm Aaron, the owner of Brisbane Yamaha, and today we've got a 630 Freestyler. Yes, I know we've done a 630 before, but this time I've put a 150 on it. Now, a 630 Freestyler is a new class of boat as far as I'm concerned, an offshore bow rider. This thing's one for the whole family. You know, if you were thinking about going and getting some sort of wakeboard boat and spending 200 grand, 150 grand, look again, because this will do everything. Now, let's have a brief look through it, Dan. It's got the Yamaha, it's got the Quintrex Aluminium trailer. Only the best trailers for Quintrex. And while you're down there, Dan, have a look at this hull. Now, the apex, there's nothing like it. Years and years of R&D we did at Quintrex, at Telwater, to come up with it. It looks a bit like a Hornet. It looks a bit like a Millennium hull. Well, I'll tell you, there's nothing like it. It's still stretch formed, you know, which is unique to Quintrex. And it is one of the best riding boats in a 630 I've ever been in. A massive surprise, and I showed you that on the last YouTube I did on a 630, how these things ride. The massive front on it. You know, have a look up here, this Pickle-fork. You know, stainless steel cleats, massive, massive deck for the family. My wife would sit up here, she'd be sculling bottles of Chardonnay up here. The whole family would love it. And that hull is soft, it's dry. Come down here, 5mm hull. Can you believe that? This thing's got a 5mm hull, stretch formed. You know, and of course, Quintrex use special aluminium that tempers as it stretches. Stronger than 5083. Dual axle trailer with alloy wheels, fantastic. And of course, we've got this wakeboard tail. Have a look at that. Comes from the factory at Telwater. It's got the white light at the top. And then what we do is we put one of our biminis. You know, I've told you before about the Brisbane Yamaha legendary trim shop. I can tell you, I could do your car. I've got a trimmer that does cars for the summer nuts. He's absolutely fantastic. And that's why we're famous for our trim shop. Come around the back, because I want to get in the water and see how this goes. And what we're doing, we've put up a 150. Now, I know Aaron's always doing 150s, and that's because I love them. Dan will put up the specs on that Yamaha. A 150 four-stroke from Yamaha is one of the most reliable, most powerful 150s in its class. They're 164 horsepower. They go like anything. I don't know how many I've had. I might have had 30 myself. I will put one on everything, right? And I'll put this up against any other company's 175. That's how good they are, and that's a big statement. Prove me wrong, come on a test ride. Have a look at this ladder. Look at that. You know, strong sea deck for grip, and some of our quality stainless, you know, hydraulic steering, of course, and we've got sounders. We've got the transom door on it. Look at the back. Have a look at the back of that hull. You know, only Quintrex can make this, and it's all paired up, self-draining deck. Oh, you might also show that. Now, where are we? We're in late November 2017. I've got 3 of these in stock. Right, we've been selling plenty. Have a look at that. You know, snooze and you lose. If you ring me in a year's time, don't think you can get it for under 76 grand. Now, and this is painted, and it's got a heap of stuff that comes with it. Let's have a quick look inside, and then we're getting in the water. Now, I've spoken before about Quintrex, and they're the only ones that have got this great big colour brochure, all the specs, everything. And right at the front are the Freestylers. And of course we make an offshore one, which is a Frontier. But let's talk about the Freestylers. Dan will zoom in on these pages and show you why they're different. Years of R&D. You know, we've got 5 different hulls now, but Dan will show you that on. Have a look back here, Dan. Now, we've got this quality folding seat that can come out. We've got down here storage by the plenty. Look, you could put a couple of snapper in there, you could put some ski gear if you wanted. Your battery goes under the back, self-draining deck, you know. Up here, more storage, because you can never have too much storage. You put your skis in here, glove boxes. You know, no one does this stuff. Whoever does this, what boat do you manufacture other than Telwater? Put a good quality cupboard in there and you store. Look, you'd get enough ham and pickle sandwiches in there for the whole family. You know, drink holders, ergonomics, concealed side mount control box. Wonderful. We've got our gauges, shows fuel, this quality steering wheel. And now, this is something that not a lot of people know, and we didn't highlight it last time. In there's where your stereo, your Fusion stereo is. Because if my wife was up the front of here, a couple of ham and pickle sandwiches and a Chardonnay, she'd want a few tunes. Have a look at that. This is wonderful. Now, what we're going to do, let's get on the water and see how this 150, because this boat's maxed to a 200. We always normally put 200s, but I just have a sneaking suspicion that 150 is going to be enough. And you're going to save a lot on fuel. Let's have a look on the water. Here we are, Caboolture River into the bay in a 630 Freestyler with a 150 Yamaha. And I tell you, I've said it to you before, if you can find a boat that takes a 150, put it on, because this thing does over 70 kilometers an hour. I've got 3 people here. I've got Nick. Nick's just bought one of these boats, and I kind of thought that a 150 would do it. I've got a standing start into a little bit of chop, and I'll just take off. Whoa! And straight away, it's on the plane. Now, I'm getting along. I'm doing beautifully, actually. I'm doing 54 revs, and I'm doing 65 kilometers an hour, and Nick's hanging on for grim death. And this hull, you know, because geez, I love these Apex. Have a look at this thing go, you know. I said, Nick, I'll take you out and show you what a boat will do. Now he's hanging on, wondering if he should have come, you know. But tried, he hasn't even got a drop of water on him. Unlike this houseboat beside us, I wonder what sort of output he had. Might have been a black anchor, you know. But have a look at this thing just flying out, chopping over. So what you do with these Apex, and I've showed you before, you've got to drive them with the front up in the air a bit. Now, and why is that? They just seem to work better. Now that drone's watching, and I'll just give it a little bit with a 150, up it goes, and smooth. Watch this, bam, over. Now that didn't even bang, right? Now, what are we doing? I'm doing 4,000 revs, right? And we're doing 45 kilometers an hour, and it's soft. I'll trim it down a little bit, I'll hit this. We're in half a metre to, well, that one's probably a metre, right? Half a metre to a metre. I'm in a bow rider. What I'd like you to do, come out of here in one of those Bayliners or Larsons or one of these bloody things, let alone, I said bloody, I shouldn't have said that. Now, let alone if you had one of these wakeboard boats. You want to see how poor they would ride in this. And this is soft, right? So what we are, oh, there's some birds over there. I always like chasing birds. I've liked them since I was a kid, you know, especially those shags. I like to chase them up, get them flying, but I don't want to get Nick wet, you know. So let's go off here again. Shags are flying, drone's probably picked it up. We're out in the bay, we've got a bit of a chop, right? And as you know, what you do, you have to commit if you want to get on top of that chop. Now Nick's probably wondering, I wouldn't ever do this because Nick's just going to use this as a ski boat. You know, but I said occasionally you might want to go across to Tangalooma, or you might want to go to Harvey Bay and go out to Rooney's or something. You know, so what we're going to do, I'll just look for an opportunity and I'll show him how this will just skim over the top. Now you wouldn't think to do this with a 150. You know, most other dealers, they've got to put 200s on these things. That's a good wave. Over so I just find a wave and then I commit. Get on top. And then over we go. Beautiful. Smooth. Nick's hanging on. You know, but we got his deposit. So that's all right. He's got to know what it's like. Bam! Oh yeah, I hope the drone saw that. And don't worry, this isn't Nick's boat. Nick's ordering one. You know, this is mine. Not as a demo boat to take anyone out. So, you know, we don't really want to drive like this. But if you did, let's say you were running late for Grandma's roast and you had to come home, well, look at that! Just about every custom plate boat you buy in a following sea will want to breach. Now, why do they breach? Because there's that trade-off between that sharp entry, right? But this is where Quintrex have come up to it with this Apex hull. Doesn't want to breach. Look at this. I hope that train's showing. What am I doing? I'm doing 3.9. I'm doing 42 kilometers an hour, And I can't see because I didn't bring my glasses how much fuel I'm using. But I kind of know. I'm using 20. I think. Can't see it. Don't hold me to it. Now, have a look at this. That drone's sitting there. And what I'll do is I'll just put that nose up a bit, right? And now I'll just put it into a 4, 6. And look at that. It just comes over. I'll try and get it to bang into that. Look at that hole. I'll jump over the top of one, right? See if you can see that hole. Oh, I got a bit of air then. Must have been those ham and pickle sandwiches. Now, what I want to tell you is there is nothing on the market or ever been on the market that is the same as these Freestylers. This is an offshore boat. This can handle it, but make no mistake, you take this up to Somerset, you'll go and do any number of water sports in it. Have a look at the size of the front up it. You know, a couple of people, 4 or 5 people up the front you could fit. Have a whole day out water skiing, tubing, having just a ball with your kids, family. You know, your neighbours will hate you if you own one of these. Beautiful boat, and under 76 grand, you could put yourself into one. Now, that's a lot of money, no doubt, but this is a serious amount of boat. And of course, you know, 150 is 20 grand, you know, so all of a sudden this is coming down. And when you compare it to family boats, wakeboard boats, downright cheap, right? And for what you get, you resale. And how it works, look at this thing going. This is just soft. We're sitting down, we're not standing up in this, you know, and I didn't want to come out in a day where there was shiny, you know, not a wave on the horizon. Look at that drone just looking at that hull working it, you know. This really is a superior boat. No one can make them, only Telwater because of their years of R&D. They're the biggest manufacturer in the southern hemisphere. Some say the biggest aluminium manufacturer in the world. And I think that's probably true, you know. But what they are, no one has built a boat like this. It's proven they've been very popular. Now we carry at Brisbane Yamaha 2 or 3 of them at any time because that's how popular they are. You know, and these apexes, combined with Millennium hull, blade hull, ellipse hull, oh geez, we've got a boat for every application you want. Now, and the other thing that people want to know, what if you had your kid out the back? You know, I've got a 22-year-old, I've got a 13-year-old, I've got 4 kids. Right, the 22-year-old, he's a bit of a smarty. I'll put him into a whip. Look at this thing sit flat. Have a look at this. Into this chop, I'm turning it, and I just got a little bit of spray in me. I'm doing 43. I'm still doing over 40 kilometres an hour in a tight turn, and it sat flat and ripped out of there. Look at that. Go and do that with your, bow rider that's not a Quintrex, and see what happens. You know? Awesome. Well, I think what we've proved it. A 150 Yamaha on a 630 Freestyler are a perfect couple. I tell you don't need it anymore. Feel free. You know, if you want to put a 200 on it, 175, go for it. But you don't need to. Over 70 kilometres, 75 it would do. 3 people, I'm bigger than what you think. Nick, Jesus, you know? In this boat, ideal for the family, offshore fishing, going out on weekends. You know, I'd put a board in here, I'd throw cast nets, I'd flick lures. Everything in the family can be done with this. Wakeboarding. So if you want to come on a ride, come in this boat. This is our demo boat at Brisbane Yamaha. We've got demo boats on top enders, you know, Tridents, you name it, I've got a demo. Because why would you buy a boat? You wouldn't buy a car without going for a drive, so don't buy a boat without going for a drive. Only at Brisbane Yamaha. So call the team at 3888 1727 and I'll see you on the water.